Hi, I'm Shane Lipson from Mount Franklin Insurance. We often get approached from folks that are opening new businesses and want to talk to us about what type of insurance they need for their new business. And it's an exciting time because new business folks are dealing with a whole plethora of different kinds of tasks that they have to get done in order to open their business. I'm sure insurance isn't necessarily our favorite topic, but it is an important one. The challenge with a new business, and the reason that new business owners should be talking with a true insurance advisor, is that every business is a little bit different in terms of what coverage they need. Now, there are some coverages that every business needs, but depending on the type of business you have, the type of insurance that a welder would need, for example, is incredibly different than the type of business that a physician needs. And there are plenty of different types of businesses in between those two extremes. One of the first things I talk with folks about is business general liability insurance. Every type of business, regardless of what kind of business you have, needs to look at general liability insurance. In general, the landlord of any property is going to make you have general liability insurance before you move in. Many licensing bureaus are going to make you have general liability insurance, and that's the quintessential piece of insurance that protects you as a business owner from folks who would sue you in case you do damage, either bodily injury or property damage to them. So if you hurt someone else or you hurt someone else's property, in general, it is general liability insurance that responds. The second piece that almost every business owner needs is some type of property coverage. Now, even if you don't own the building, there is property that you own. If you're a welder, as an example, you have tools and equipment. If you're a physician, you have examination tables, computers, desks, and other kinds of equipment. Every kind of business has some type of property that they have to insure, whether they own their building or not. Often, the general liability and property insurance can be combined together into a package policy, something called a BOP, and there are lots of different ways to do it, but fundamentally, general liability and property coverage. The third type of coverage that every business needs to look at is workers' compensation insurance. There are a couple of states, including the state of Texas, that don't require it legally, but I still highly recommend it to cover both yourself as an owner and any employees that you have from injury to folks while they're on the job. It's fairly cheap coverage and provides great benefit. Separate from those three big coverages, property, general liability, and workers' compensation, there are a couple of coverages that I recommend also that all businesses look at, like cyber coverage, which everyone knows is a big deal these days. I have an entire video talking just about cyber coverage. I recommend that you watch it. The other type of coverage that I think is really underpurchased and underappreciated is that if you have any employees, looking at an employment practices policy. And this protects you as a business owner from claims by your employees that you did not treat them fairly as employees, either wage and labor issues, hiring and termination issues, discrimination or harassment issues. Those types of policies are very important. The last policy that I'll talk about as a broad brush for everyone is automobile coverage. And you might stop for a second and say, but my business doesn't own automobiles. The answer is it doesn't matter. Any kind of business that does any kind of driving, whether the automobile is owned by the business, whether the business rents automobiles, or the business is having employees or the owner drive their own automobile for business purposes, has an automobile exposure. Because if someone is driving on the clock while business is open on behalf of the business for any reason, and there's an accident and there's a liability situation, whoever gets hurt always has the opportunity to go after the business itself. And auto insurance is needed to protect that business. And there are ways to put auto insurance in place even if your business doesn't own an automobile directly. Aside from those general types of policies, there are many specific kinds of policies depending on the business that you own. There are professional or errors and omissions policies for those that practice a specific kind of profession. There are development types of policies. There are construction types of policies, things again too like inland marine, builder's risk, and a whole bunch of other policies that we've got some other special videos on. The two pieces of advice that I want to leave you with are, first, find a trusted advisor that can talk to you about insurance and help you get the right type of coverage. And the second thing is recognize that there are some policies that every business is going to need before they open their doors. For example, that general liability policy that typically is going to be needed before you can even sign a lease with a landlord. Let's look at those two issues. As always, all of us at Mount Franklin are here to help guide you through those kinds of questions and make sure that you get the best value for the kind of insurance that you need to put in place. Give us a call. soon.